remember being up here. It is Wednesday, September 18th, 2019. America is 232 years and 1 day old. Yesterday was Constitution Day. I won't say that every day. We are approaching the end of chapter 1, which means there's probably going to be a test coming up. It's going to be Friday. Today's Wednesday. Here's what we're going to do. You already have your answers. If you missed anything on yesterday's homework, mark it. If you look at it again, you go, oh, I see what I did, and you fixed it, that's great. If you mark it and you have no idea by the end of today's class how you went wrong, that's when you have to see me. Everybody understand? I shouldn't have to say that after every class. So, since we have a test Friday, we got to move right to page 45, and let's start getting ready for the test. We're going to spend the next 2 days getting ready for the test. Just like we got to spend the next 2 days practicing how we're going to attack this team. Like now Salineville, they're practicing. They've been practicing all year, but now this 2 days, how are we going to attack this team this Friday? Right? Same thing going on Columbiana. So hopefully Brett and I get to see a good game, unlike last week. All right. Page 45, review quiz 2. We're going to knock this out, hopefully in the next 13 minutes or less, so that we can get started on the chapter review that's in the book. If you can understand everything we do the next 2 days, you should come in Friday with supreme confidence that you're going to do well on Friday's test. Number 1, we're going to do this together. You do have to write it down, though. Get this in your notebook. We're on page 45. We're going to work through the review quiz. Are you ready, Micah? They want you to do this mentally. We have not yet got into, by the way, what I had on the board yesterday, and I was doing the whole subtract and the algebraic axioms. If you think about it, we haven't even got really into that yet. We haven't even gotten into solving equations. Every time so far they've asked you to solve in chapter 1, they keep emphasizing mental math. They're giving you nice, simple ones, setting you up for what's coming to use algebra to solve them. Ready? Number 1. Seth, if I have h plus 12 and they tell me that equals 21, Seth, in his brain, without writing anything down, he's going to write next to his number 1 the answer 9. Because he says to himself, what plus 12 would give me 21? And 9. You all have the ability to do that in junior high. Number 2, Ethan says 22 minus y equals 8. What would I take away from 22 to give me 8? Ethan says 14. And so did you probably. Number 3, 54 equals 6x. Isaac says when they write a number next to a variable, that means they're multiplying them together. So what would I multiply by 6 to give me 54? And Isaac says 9. Number 4, Preston knows that the fraction bar is a division sign. So he says 108 divided by something is going to give me 9. He goes back to his times tables from long ago. 108 divided by something gives me 9. Preston says the answer is 12. So there's your answers to the first 4. Look, there's only 8 in this quiz. We are zooming like we should. Number 5, video games. Let's skip that one. I hate that. I'm just kidding. Video games. You have $24 to spend on video game rentals. Does that sound right? Like, say, is there such thing still as GameStop?
Yeah.
I think they don't have game. Are they going out of business?
Yeah.
Becoming like the one in Salem closed? Did I hear somebody say it closed?
In the mall.
The one in the mall closed?
No. They either moved it or they.
All right. So you say you have $24 to spend on video game rentals. Each rental costs $3. And so how many can you rent? Come on, you can do this mentally. You got $24. How many games can you rent if they're $3 each, Dominic? 8. Dominic says, hey, I got a problem-solving plan for that. I'm going to take my $24 and divide it by 3, because that's how much each one cost, $8. It wasn't that long ago that you could actually go to GameStop and rent a game for like $3 a day or something. I don't know if you can do that anymore. No. Number 6. Find the perimeter and area of a rectangle. The length is 14, the width is 11. I'll do a little picture. The length is 14, the width is 11. First, what's the perimeter? Remember what perimeter is. It's around the outside. You go 14, 11, 14, 11, or 2 times 14 plus 11. 14 plus 11 is?
14 and 11.
What's 14 and 11? You're saying that to stall. 25. What's 25 times 2? 50. So your perimeter is 50. What's your area? Area, remember, is simpler. Make sure you give it the right label, though. Your answer for perimeter was 50 feet, right? What's your answer for area if it's 14 by 11? By the way, do this with me. Ready? Mental math. Watch. You were not asked to memorize your 14s all the way up through 5th grade, but watch this. See if you can do this in your mind's eye. You know what your mind's eye is? You know what your mind's eye is? Have you ever, well, some of you do this a lot. You know when you daydream, you're seeing things that aren't really there? So in your mind, okay, so do this with me. Ready? 14 times 10, anything times 10, you just put a 0 on the end, right? 14 times 10 is 140. One more 14. What's the answer? 14 times 11 is 154. Let's do that again for those of you that don't really care to practice mental math. 14 times 11. 14 times 10 gives me 140. I need one more 14. 140 and 14, 154. And she said the answer was square feet. Very good. Everybody got it? LP, you got that? Next, number 7, moving right along. On the highway, you drive at a speed of 55 miles per hour for 3 hours. How far do you go? Elise, what are you going to do with those numbers? Here I am, 55 miles an hour on cruise control. I keep going for 3 hours. How far did I go? You can write it down if you want. What am I going to do with the numbers? Multiply 55 times 3. Think with me, Dina. Ready? 55 times 3. 50 times 3 is 50, 100, 150. 5 times 3 is 15. What's 150 and 15? Sid. 165 miles. And number 8. Oh, by the way, I can't remember exactly what year, but since this book was published so long ago, it's probably close to this time. It hasn't always been 70 miles per hour on most of our Ohio highways. At one time, it was as low as 55. That was like the speed limit, the highest you could go. Then they moved it to 65, and then they moved it to 70. Isn't that crazy to think you can only go 55? Next. You plan to exercise for 200 minutes over 5 days. How many are already computing things right now? You plan to exercise for 200 minutes over 5 days. Using mental math, how many are already trying to figure out what would 200, how many minutes a day that would be? Think 20 divided by 5. You know the answer to that. So 200 divided by 5. The first 4 days you exercise 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, and then a whole hour. Use the problem-solving plan to find the number of minutes you need to exercise on that 5th day to reach your goal. You want to get to 200 minutes. They give you 4 of the days. How many minutes in an hour, Micah?
60.
So what's your job? Micah says, my plan is I'm going to add up 45, 30, 20, and 60. And then, since I want to get to 200, I'm going to take whatever total I got and subtract that from 200. That's what will be left. Is this what Dina got? Who got 45? 45 minutes left. Now, how many after doing those 8 things? Look at what we did. We said hopefully we get done by 10:30. Mr. Franklin, when it comes to time, this is a very big accomplishment for me. All right, it's 10:25. Wait, before we turn the page, is there anything on 1 through 8 that you're out there and you're like, he went way too fast. I don't even know what he's talking about. Cam.
So on number 8, like a problem like that, so you would just add it all together and then subtract from 200.
Right, because what do you know going in? You need to get to a total of 200. Something's going to equal 200. So you had to take all those minutes, this, plus this, plus this, plus, and you know, hour 60. And then what would be left? If you wanted to do it algebraically, this is what it would look like. 45, 30, 45 plus 30 plus 20 plus 60 plus X. And you would add all those up and then subtract it from 200 to find out what X is. Does that make sense? Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Brett?
How do you find the area on 6?
On 6, remember, area is length times width. So we just go 14 times 11.
It's cold in
And
here.
remember, it's square feet. Did you say cold? You have a sweater on. And it's 73.
It's freezing.
Are you ready? Turn the page. Listen, half of this we'll do today. We'll check it tomorrow. And then we'll do the other half tomorrow. So our job today, we're going to go through the top part, 1 through 9 together. And then we'll be on our way. Ready? Number 1. Copy and complete this statement. You don't have to write this down. We're just going 1 through 9 together, orally, and then we'll put you on your way. What do you call a graph that you can make from a table of organized data, and it has to do with frequency?
Oh.
You're not comparing, this, David, has to do with when you hear the word frequency, you should not think of a bar graph, but a histogram. Number 1 would be histogram. Remember the difference? Histogram, they're connected because you're going, hey, how many people scored from 1 to 10 points? How many scored from 11 to 20? How many scored from 31 or 21 to 30, right? So you're kind of getting a flow going there. Frequency. Number 2, what's the amount of surface covered by a figure? What's the amount of surface covered by these walls inside what we call 204? What is this surface called? Jordan? Area. Number 3, to evaluate an expression that has more than one operation. If you have to evaluate an expression that has more than one operation, what must you make sure you use? Use the, we can't all get different answers for this. There's one answer because we're all going to use the order of operations. So everybody would go like this first. 6 divided by 3. So this answer is 4 because it's 2 plus 2, right? It's not 8 divided by 3. Everybody understands that? Let me stop. Ev, this is, the answer to this would be 2 plus 2. Because first you have to do 6 divided by 3, right? Got it, Cam? Number 4. What is a symbol, usually a letter, that represents a number? What do we call that thing? Starts with a V. We put it in there because it's not always the same answer. The answer changes. The answer varies. So we call it a, Jaden, variable. Number 5. A power has an exponent. When we talk about numbers and their powers, it has an exponent, which is this. What do you call this guy? If the 4 is called the exponent, what's the 3 called? Little math vocab. Case. The base. Any questions so far? Anything need cleared up 1 through 5? Number 6. A variable expression is a mathematical sentence. Listen, that's really what this is. This is a sentence. Is it true or false that 2 plus 2 equals 4?
True.
We're doing a little language class here. That's a true sentence, right? A variable expression is a sentence that is formed by placing an equal sign between 2 expressions. Now wait, this is a sentence. Is a variable expression. Is that a sentence?
Yes.
No, that's more like a phrase. Because a sentence completes a thought, right? That 2 plus 2 equals 4. This is just a variable expression. Does that make sense? That's more like in language class a phrase. You haven't made a complete thought. You haven't completed it by setting it equal to anything. Does that make sense? An equation is a statement. a declarative sentence. Is it true or is it false? This is just an expression. Hasn't completed the thought. So that's false, number 6. Number 7, a formula is an equation that only has one variable. A formula is an equation that only has one variable. All the formulas we've done so far, perimeter, area, speed, has there been one variable or more? More. So that's false. Number 8, the perimeter of a figure is the sum of the length of its sides. True or false? The perimeter is the sum of the length of its sides. 7. That is true. And number 9, a solution of an equation is a number that, when substituted for the variable, makes it true. Here, let's take, is a solution to that x equals 4. Is that a solution? Does that make that sentence true?
Yes.
Then that's a solution. 4 is what we call a solution because 4 is what solves the problem. Right? Remember that from science class? You got all those SOL words. Solution is a solvent. No? Something will dissolve, making it a solute. You guys don't remember all that? I did that in 5th grade. So 4 is a solution. All right, ready? You're doing 10 through 20. 10 through 20, yep. 10 through 20, and then tomorrow what we do is we go over 10 through 20. We make sure you got all those down pat, and then we spend tomorrow working on 21 through 35, so when you leave class tomorrow, you're ready for Friday's test. And we get 26 grand scores. Do you know you're not competing against her for an A? Do you realize that everyone could get an A? The teachers don't have like a big thing up here, okay, I only got so many A's to give out. So it depends on who does best. No, the scale's set. If you get a 90, you get an A. Possibly everybody gets an A. Yes?
That is true.
9 is true, yeah, because this would be called a solution because it makes it true. Yes?
And what was 6 again?
6 was false
Okay.
because it's just an expression. It's not a whole sentence.
Okay.
Guess what? That's not going to be on the test.
Okay.
That's a little confusing, right?
Yeah.
And we're not going to try to trick you on the test. We're making sure it's pre-algebra, that you have all the basics ready for attacking algebra next year. Technically, in the course of things throughout the country, 9th grade algebra, 10th grade geometry, 11th grade algebra 2, 12th grade trigonometry or something. Here at Heartland, we're like, no, we're better than that. We strive to make 8th grade algebra, 9th grade geometry, 10th grade algebra 2, 11th grade trigonometry, and then 12th grade calculus or something beyond that. That's what we're striving for. So we definitely, though, have everybody. Some places, they can't even get the kids to algebra by 9th grade. We make sure everybody's in algebra by 9th grade. Yes?
So you're the 10th graders are in algebra. What do you do in algebra in 8th grade? What do you do in freshman?
Geometry. Yep. Because then you're on track, if you're really good at math, to get as high as possible. So you're up there with Mrs. McCoy doing calculus. And then when the ACT test comes, the high score you get is a 36, so you're getting like 34, 35, 36 on your ACT because you've gone that far in math. Higher ACT score, the more money. Start thinking about it now. So when people ask, 2 questions. Why do we need algebra? We're never going to use it in our lives. Because you're learning how to solve problems. You're going to have a lot of problems to solve in your life. 2, why am I? At least you're getting paid. So are you. In fact, chances are you're getting paid more than I am, if you only knew. And you're just getting it deferred because the more you know, the higher your chance for success is, Isaac, and the better chance you have to make money. Starting with, unfortunately, this is true. The higher you get on that ACT when you get to high school, the more money they start throwing at you for college. Instead of graduating in buku debt, they pay you to go to college. Do you know Mrs. Vogel that works here? When she first went to YSU, her first year, she actually got money instead of paying to go to college. Because she did really well in high school and she got a really high ACT score. Now, if you're good at athletics and you're good in class, you really got it made. But even if you're no good at athletics, but you're really good in class, you're still getting, I don't know if Mrs. Vogel played anything. She went to school basically free. Yes?
What do you do when you're in 11th or when you're like you don't have any more like math courses and then
There are. Mrs. Coy teaches calculus.
so that's like the one that like
That's like the high school.
12th grade?
Yeah.
And what about the other?
Unfortunately, through the years, so many Heartland students always take the easy way out, and they're like, oh, I don't want to take any more math. But the few that have, I can think of two names right off the bat, that they've gone through the calculus, two for sure. I think one got a 30, I think one of our kids got a 36 on the ACT. That's the highest you can get in math. The other one got like a 30 something. Drew is out in Colorado. He's a doctor. Actually, he's like a mission doctor. So he became a doctor and he's using it in the mission field. That's pretty awesome. That's what Heartland's all about. That you can become a doctor and use your skills in the mission field. Yes?
Number 13.
Yeah.
The parentheses and the brackets.
Okay. So you got brackets, because remember, some people call it PEMDAS, some people call it GEMDAS. Remember I told you that? Because the G stands for grouping. So you've got these brackets, work from the outside in. So you've got 14 plus 6 times 2. I'm sorry, from the inside out. So you go 14 plus 6 first. And then you got to do the 20 times 2 to take care of everything within those grouping symbols.
What is it?
Work from the inside out. 14 plus 6 on number 13. Figure out what that is, because that's in parentheses. And then you still got the brackets, so you got to do that next. 20 times 2. And then it ends up making the answer pretty easy. 40 divided by 20 times 2. What's 20 times 2? The answer becomes quite simple if you just... Excuse you? 10 to 21, right? Or 20. 10 to 20. Yeah.
I had a question on last night. 15.
Okay. I erased. Oh, 15? Did you get close to that? This question is about yesterday's homework number 15. It says, she wants to sell a total of 16,000. So let's use a problem-solving strategy, Cam. Ready? She wants to get to 16,000. You see how I start off? This is where I know I want to get. I want to get equal to 16,000. You with me? Okay. Now what else do we know? The first 3 weeks, she made $12.40, $37.20, and $59.80. She's got 4 weeks to make this much. I'm going to take those just like this one. I'm going to take what she's already done, add those up. What's left? To reach my goal, what's left? I want to make 16,000. I made this much, and this much. Add those up. What's left? Subtract it from 16,000.
So then how would you would you write it just like that on the question?
I wouldn't write it just like that. I'm saying if you were going to use algebra, I would add these up and subtract it from the total I want. You sure? Yes.
I am confused on how to do it.
Shh, I can't. She's right here. I can't hear her.
I'm confused on how to do number 14.
14 from today?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not the word. She's not, no, just
14 on page 46. Okay. What is 31 minus 26?
what are we supposed
Okay, we're back to that again. 60 over 31 minus 26. You got to do the 31 minus 26 first. I know, it's crazy, but that's what you got to do. Yes, Jaden.
treating it like
I'm confused on 19.
What's that?
3x 19.
number 19.
The first part of it.
Okay, you got 3xy minus xy. You got to plug in a 4 and a 9, right?
So,
I erase here.
like, I know it's 36 that you're subtracting 36, but I don't know the 3x.
X is 4, y is 9. So watch. 3 times 4 times 9 minus 4 times 9. This is number 19, people. Number 19 on today's word. All I did was plug in what they gave me. And I wrote them in parentheses, or I could have put dots in between them to raise dots to multiply. So before I subtract, I got to multiply these. What's 3 times 4?
12.
Times 9.
108.
Oops.
That's what we began.
Minus, what's 4 times 9?
36.
So the answer,
Is
72. Zach, yes, number 19, for your viewing pleasure. How much time we got?
6 minutes.
Oh, we go all the way to 5th grade lunch?
What time is it?
5th grade, remember? And
Oh, yeah, I forget.
like you just ate breakfast and you got lunch?
Yeah, I know.
And then Mr. Franken doesn't give you a snack in 5th grade?
I'm hungry.
How mean? You spend your whole elementary career getting snacks and then 5th grade, boom.
Well, you don't get
He just
snacks
takes
in
over.
6th grade.
What's that?
We don't get any.
Because
I hated nap time.
Mr. Franken thinks 5th grade should be middle school, so he tries to
Nap
treat
time was terrible. I miss it.
I thought they made.
because everybody else in the country just about is 5th grade.
I hated nap time. Actually, no. Southern Elementary is so sick.
No.
Yeah, I know so much.
Sid the kid's got a question. Go ahead. Tomorrow. Last week.
We don't.
If your book's not covered by tomorrow, you gotta get your detention slips out.
What?
How do you put the paper in?
Technically, I had my
How do you
book
get the
covered.
Are you telling me that you live with Carrie Pruitt as your mother, and you don't think the inimitable Mrs. Pruitt knows how to put a book cover on? She can do like anything. She can cheerlead, play rugby, put a book cover on, and feed the baby all at one time.
Who?
Mrs. Pruitt.
Oh.
See ya.